In today's brutal job market, landing an interview feels impossible. But I did. After getting multiple software engineering offers in this bad job market, I've identified critical resume mistakes that were killing my resume and probably are killing yours too. I've reviewed hundreds of resumes people send over to me on LinkedIn and gathered feedback from senior engineers when I was myself in my job search phase, and all these tips and tricks actually transformed my approach towards resume making. I'll show you exactly what changes made employers start calling me back. If you're tired of sending applications into the void and not getting any calls, this is the video for you. It is time to get you the interview call, so let's get started. Okay, so it is time to understand some recruiter psychology. Imagine it is 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. The recruiter has about 400 resumes to look over in their inbox and a half-drunk coffee in their hand, and their eyes scan in an F pattern, top left corner first, and gives you about 7 seconds before moving on. If the prime spot doesn't scream "hire me," your resume vanishes. Most folks kick off their resume with a generic professional summary or a seeking growth objective, utter fluff that actually nobody cares about. Meanwhile, halfway down, where recruiters never even reach. Remember, you've just got one page, just 500 words to prove that you belong. But too many of us fill the most prestigious place on your resume with useless GPAs, professional summaries and objectives and whatnot. So, stop making resume wrong and start implementing these action points. Number 1, delete professional summary and your GPA if needed. Only add if they are absolutely necessary. A lot of people waste their valuable top of the page space with, as I said, a generic professional summary or even a GPA that doesn't even add value to your candidacy. Unless a company specifically asks for GPA, or if you're a fresh graduate, or you have got very exceptional GPA, or if you come from a top tier college, I don't think there's any meaning in adding GPA at the very top. Personally for me, I did not add any professional summary. I did add GPA though because I come from Purdue and apparently Purdue is some prestige and stuff, so people said that adding a college name and GPA will add value. But still, the reason I added that was because this was my first job, and your school defines more of what you do more than your work when you're looking for your first job. So that was the reason. But if all of those reasons are not true for you, I don't think you should write your GPA, at least not at the very top. And coming back to the summary, just forget about it. Number 2, focus on 2 core sections. First, a skills section right at the very top, which should cover, 1/5 or 1/3 of a page. And the reason why this is very important is because it helps the recruiter and the ATS system, something that we're going to talk about later in the video, to quickly scan for tools and technologies that you're working on. And then after the skills section, move to the experience section where you can, show the internships or the work experiences that you have had or the projects that you made and the impact that you had in all of these things. Remember, as I mentioned, learn to show impact, not just your responsibilities or what you did, if that makes sense. And I'm going to cover this later in the video as well, so don't worry. So, with all this, reinvest the space saved into better storytelling, because stories are everything in this world. Use this extra space to add more details, results-oriented bullet points under your most recent work experience or projects. Highlight what you built, improved, automated, or achieved. Remember, less fluff is equal to more interviews. Simple as that. So just listing managed email campaigns is just a chore chart. Absolutely nobody remembers that. In fact, about 62% of hiring managers tune out generic tasks. They just don't care about that. One of my good friends, let's call him Alex, used to wrote code for feature X in this company or in this big software database, and his callback rate was about 5 to 7%. He then flipped it and wrote something like led development of feature X that boosted user retention by 18%. Now this is really good stuff. Within 2 weeks, his interview callbacks tripled. So the key point for you all to remember here is, number 1, identify the outcome. Think beyond the task that you completed. What was the overall result of your contribution? Did you help reduce costs, speed up processes, improve user experience, or led to more revenue for the company? Because these are all the things that companies care about. Not what you did, but how they benefited from you. As I mentioned, you need to focus less on what you did and more on what actually got done for the company or the group that you were working for. Number 2, and this is so important and I missed it for so long, quantify your results. Even if you're not in a numbers heavy role, You can still estimate. Maybe you improved customer satisfaction. Maybe you were, so productive that you solved 30 plus tickets. Or maybe the feature that you built or the defect that you fixed reduced processing time by 20%. Numbers help you stand out and prove your value. Now, a lot of people come to me and say, hey, I don't have experience, so what do I even quantify in the first place? And to them, I say, there is always something that you can do. So even if you were a part of a group project and you presented a presentation at the end of it, rather than saying presented on topic X, which gained a lot of appreciation, gave a presentation that scored 37% higher than the class average. And I know it seems so cheesy and immature, and I also used to feel the same, but trust me, it comes off as very professional because you took the effort to give the presentation, calculate the average, quantify all these calculations into a metric and present that. This is actually what companies are looking for. Use my formula: action plus what you did plus metric plus outcome. For example, redesigned onboarding workflow, decreasing user drop-off rate by 20% within 2 months. This is an absolute banger of a bullet point. So you see, these small shifts turn your resume from a boring task list into a highlight reel of impact. And that's what hiring managers remember. So shift your mindset from what I did to what I delivered and how the company or the group benefited from my contribution. So before any human sees your resume, an ATS bot scans it. It is a piece of software that all these companies use. You can learn more about it on Google. But essentially, about 75 to 80% of resumes get filtered out before reaching any human recruiter or a hiring manager. And I've been a victim of it. My friends have been a victim of it. One of them was actually really qualified for all of the roles that he was applying to, but he didn't list, for example, AWS S3 in his resume and stuck to his generic cloud platform terminology, and that actually costed him a lot. So these are the steps that they took, which actually helped recruiters reach out to her via email or LinkedIn. Number 1, absolutely mirror the job post. Go through the job description line by line and pull out the exact terms like AWS S3 or Terraform or Docker or REST API or whatever. This is exactly what ATS is looking for. So if they say AWS S3 or Azure, don't generalize it to cloud platforms or something. You need to match the exact language they use. Use these terms into your skills section and throughout your experience bullet points if they apply. And obviously you can use LLM tools like ChatGPT nowadays to help you out with that. Number 2, and this is so important, use standard headings. You see, the ATS system is trained to read common headings like work experience, education, and technical skills. Avoid creative names like what I've done and my learning journey or whatever. Don't do that. All of this sort of confuses the ATS algorithm. Stick to the labels that every system understands. And number 3, build a keyword cloud. Before customizing your resume for a particular job application, jot down 10 to 15 core terms that you want to use in your resume that actually matches the job description. Then work those naturally in your resume content, especially in projects, experience, and skills section, because these are the 3 main core sections of your resume that make up or should make up 95% of your entire one-pager. Again, your dear friend ChatGPT can help you out with it. So do not skip on this. Now, I am saying this from my personal experience that I applied this and I straight up started getting a lot of interview calls because my resume actually matched what the job description was. Always match keywords. So your LinkedIn is your evergreen billboard. But each resume that you apply for a job, that is just super targeted towards a role. One mistake that I see a lot of people making when I review their resumes is that most of the times they have just copy pasted their LinkedIn profile into the resume or vice versa, and that is not how it is supposed to be. And no wonder why they end up having no responses from recruiters or companies and stuff. What I'd say is craft tailored resume linking to a simple project site showcasing your interactive dashboards. This is the exact stuff that puts you apart. So let me break it down on how you can start building your own personal brand. Number 1, keep LinkedIn for the big picture story. Your LinkedIn should give a broad overview of who you are, your skills, your values, your general skill set. Think of it as your professional homepage, the consistent identity you present to the world. And trust me, it is not meant to change for every job. It is there to stay as it is for a long, long time. And don't forget to link your LinkedIn to each of the resumes that you prepare for yourself. Number 2, Make a separate portfolio website and link it to your resume. This is where you can actually shine. This is actually what gave me an edge. I've had a personal website for a long time now, and now that I think of it, it is a bit crappy, but it is better than having nothing or just a Google Doc attached with your resume and stuff. I mean, if you don't know about websites, learn to use GitHub pages or Notion pages, or if you can dabble around with WordPress or Ghost or something. Create at least a simple static website for yourself. Include 2 to 3 to 4 well-designed case studies with visuals, metrics, code snippets, and real-world outcomes. Decorate with pictures and graph. It doesn't have to be fancy, it just needs to show the depth, because all these things you can't include in a one-page resume or just a small section on your LinkedIn. So this is your way to go bonkers, to go in-depth, and to show the recruiter or hiring manager that you actually are that good and you actually did the work that you were saying you did on your resume, which most of the people don't have the chance to say. You won't believe, in so many of the calls that I had during my interviews, the hiring manager or the tech lead actually went into the projects and they were asking me questions based on what I had written on my website, and it was all an enjoyable conversation, and one of those offers ended up converting to a full-time job, as you can see. This extra layer of effort sets you apart from the rest. By doing all this, you're not just telling recruiters that you're good, you're showing them, and that is what is important. One last piece of advice that I have for you all is to not fall into the scam of making these fancy resumes or taking some out-of-the-box template. Go to Google, there's a standard resume template, use it, don't overthink it, and just start applying for jobs. Alright guys, there you have it. Supercharged hacks. Turn your resume from ghost to gold. If you tried these, let me know down in the comments below which one gave you the biggest boost. Let me know your favorite tip. Smash the like button if this helped you. Don't forget to subscribe for more career level hacks. I post on this channel every week. And if you're stuck this far in the video, I actually have created a one-page Notion template that serves as a resume cheat sheet, which you can apply yourself while making your own resumes. Download it from the description below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.